As Washington buzzes about the release of that controversial memo, the president is at the Winter White House. He arrived in West Palm Beach Friday night. By Saturday morning, he was reacting to its release. He tweeted that it vindicates him and that there is no collusion or obstruction. He calls the special counsel's investigation an American disgrace. This comes despite comments from certain Republicans in Congress that the memo is not about defending the president. CBS News correspondent Errol Barnett is traveling with the president. Errol, what does the president believe that the memo exactly vindicates him from?
Well, it's very interesting, Rena, when you look at President Trump's tweet and even listen to what Deputy White House spokesperson Raj Shah was saying yesterday. Essentially, this Republican-authored memo creates a cloud of doubt and suspicion over one aspect of the FISA application process, which has been one small part of the overall Russia investigation. In the president's mind, if he can show or at least plant a small amount of doubt on the process of this investigation, then its conclusion is something that he doesn't necessarily have to support or stand behind. Now, let's keep in mind that Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation is far from a conclusion, or at least not one that's been announced just yet. So in the president's mind, this helps seed an ounce of doubt in the minds of people before a conclusion is even reached. But keep in mind, this memo was authored by House Republicans, while Democrats say they want to get their memo out as well. Yeah,
they certainly do. They made that clear. You know, the president has long echoed this no collusion line. Now we seem to hear him shifting towards no obstruction defense. Do you get a sense that this somehow mirrors some sort of a different focus in the Mueller investigation in at least the president's mind?
Well, it's a good point, Rena, and I noticed that as well. In this morning's tweet, while he was on his way to his West Palm Beach golf course, the president essentially alluded to the fact that since collusion hasn't been proven, it's now moved to obstruction of justice. What we do know through published reports and from what our sources are telling us from the special counsel is that Robert Mueller is in fact considering and gathering evidence for a potential obstruction of justice charge, not just because of the incident where President Trump fired FBI Director James Comey, but also because of the planning that went behind an email, a message, a statement that was released in the wake of the news that Donald Trump Jr. had attended and essentially put together a meeting at Trump Tower in 2016 on the basis of getting dirt on Hillary Clinton. It's been reported that President Trump aboard Air Force One while returning to the United States from Europe took a specific hand in crafting that message and specifically wanted it to make the point that Russian adoptions were being discussed. Now, if all of that is true, it would be not what has been documented to happen. The conversations were about an exchange for dirt on Hillary Clinton for assurances from the Trump campaign that certain things would happen if President Trump made it to the White House. So it is interesting that even Donald Trump himself, as he's watching all of his aides be interviewed and the White House has kind of crafted a response to if the president gets called in to be interviewed by Special Counsel Mueller, how the president himself is saying collusion hasn't been proven, so now it's an obstruction of justice. But as we have to repeat, we don't know that yet because Special Counsel Mueller has not made those details public.
So we don't know yet exactly where that's going to go. This memo has clearly put some heat on Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who's one of the top officials that actually signed off on that one of the four FISA application warrants that were reviewed. What do you think right now? How does the president view him at this point?
Well, it's a very key question. When the president was asked that directly at the Oval Office yesterday, he essentially refused to answer. He was asked, do you have confidence in Rod Rosenstein? He says, you'll have to figure that out. It should be noted that, according to recent reports, President Trump already tried to fire Special Counsel Mueller, and his legal counsel at the White House refused to carry out that order, Don McGahn. And so the next person that the president could potentially intervene and replace would be Rod Rosenstein. What's also interesting is that Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who has recused himself from anything related to the Russia investigation, made a point at an event at the end of last week to praise Rod Rosenstein and say that he has full confidence in him. So there's a bit of jockeying in what everyone expects to be an attempt by the president to dismiss Rod Rosenstein. And what Democrats fear is that what this memo is really about is laying the groundwork to justify an eventual dismissal for Rod Rosenstein. So we're waiting still to hear from President Trump that he remains confident in the work that Rod Rosenstein has done.
Errol Barnett traveling with the president. Thank you, Errol.
You got it.